Welcome, welcome, welcome. Toth Event Staffing proudly presents to you Biz Dev Live with Cameron Toth. Really excited to talk to you today about dealing with multi-generational workforce, dealing with younger folks, your millennials in the workforce. If you're millennials, dealing with somebody that's like me, that is a Generation Xer, or potentially working with folks that are boomers or just a little bit older than you. I think that in each individual workplace, it has its own separate challenges, but we can talk to some of the different things that are going on with each phase and give you some tips and tricks, whatever your age, to deal with other folks that you're working with. So we'll get into it. We're going to jump into the BizDev theme song. Stay with me here, and we will be back in just a moment.
BizDev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. BizDev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. BizD with C, brought to you by Cameron T. BizD with C, brought to you by Cameron T. This is business development, not even selling it. This is intelligent. If you watch it, I promise you benefit. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. BizDev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. BizDev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. BizD with C, brought to you by Cameron T. BizD with C, brought to you by Cameron T.
So thanks for hanging with me. I want to get into today's topic. So I've worked with folks just about at every age level in the workplace. Maybe not with the elderly and maybe not with the extremely, extremely young because of workplace laws. But, you know, like even now, my daughter is taking a video of this. She's working in the office for a summer internship / job with her father. So we work with folks that are older. With Toth Event Staffing, we've employed folks that easily offhand, I can say we've had everyone from 18 to 60, maybe even pushing 70 in some cases. How do you work with folks? How do you, especially as a younger person, how do you work with somebody that's older? Right now, because of the baby boomers, there's more folks that are in the workplace of a higher age than just about ever before. We have tons of millennials. How do we fit these puzzle pieces together and really make them mesh and work well in the workplace? Understanding the values of these different age groups is really important. You can go online and you can look at the values for each generation. But typically, if you're dealing with somebody that's older, they want to be respected. They want to be valued. For your millennial, they want to know that they're serving something greater than themselves. There's a reason or a purpose behind the work that they're doing. Understanding these key components, and again, Google is your friend here. You can definitely go in and get the different values for the different generations, but just to encapsulate this so that it's useful for you in the moment, you want to make sure that whatever the age group, that the person that you're hiring into that role feels that they're able to deliver and feel accomplished. And there's a lot of folks that'll be asking for a job, whatever their age, because they just want to work and they just want to make money. And really making sure that you have somebody that's a good fit for the role, whatever their age, is going to be really important, not only for you that's just wanting to get a task done, but it's going to be really important for them, because if they feel like they're driving purpose, right? If they're satisfied, if they feel like they are satisfied and they are able to provide satisfaction to an employer, customer, client, that sort of thing, typically they're going to be enjoying the job more, which means they're going to be more productive. And with that production, you're going to be a happier employer or even coworker. How do we ensure that folks are matched up with the right role, and that especially within intergenerational matchup. So, we're matching up coworkers. How do we make sure that those things are satisfied? Well, keying in, right? So if I have somebody that's generally disrespectful, now I want to say this carefully, because obviously if somebody's generally disrespectful, you don't want them even in your company. That should be a part of your core values. But when I talk about generally disrespectful, let's say you have somebody that's on the younger side that doesn't respect experience the same way that Johnny or Danielle does, right? Maybe that's not the person to match up with an older person in the workplace. Maybe the reason that we have so-and-so is because they're really good. They're really compassionate with customers in general. But when it comes to respecting experience, maybe for good reason, maybe for not so great reasons, they're not the ideal person. So matchmaking your roles within your company is really important. Ideally, you want to get somebody that's empathetic, and we're going to get into empathy in just a moment here, but ideally you want to get somebody that's empathetic to whoever they're working with. But I guarantee you, even your most empathetic younger person, older person, they have different breaking points. And how do you get to know these breaking points? You ask. You're in your interview, you ask, what do you enjoy? What do you most like? What's the qualities of the person that you most like to work with? And even in those conversations, and especially if you're hiring for a full-time role, having an interview where you put a younger person and an older person in front of somebody, and having a baseline of keeping a viewing or a partner person there and seeing what that conversation looks like, you sort of get a baseline and an understanding of how somebody perceives or sees somebody younger or older than them in the workplace. So that's a really great way to go about it. Before you even get there, though, because those are great ways to judge once you have somebody in a seat looking at the role, your job description, your expectations. So before I was saying you don't want to hire somebody that's disrespectful. What do you have in your job description that talks to diversity, that talks to demeanor, right? In my job descriptions, we talk about the hospitality mindset. A love or a general enjoyment for service has to be there. We have a popular saying in the hospitality industry: you either understand hospitality or you don't. You either get it or you don't get it, right? And you probably have that saying in your industry if you're not in the hospitality industry, right? Because for each sector, for each type of company, there is generally accepted principles of doing things that aren't necessarily a part of the fabric of the written out job statements, and very difficult to do so. With hospitality, we have things keyed in terms of training. We have things keyed in terms of experience. We have things keyed in terms of what your uniform is supposed to be. But there is no one size fits all for the way that you smile, the way that you open and close a door, for the way that you present yourself in a space. But we know and we understand when a person doesn't have it, they don't get it. And how do we codify that into a job description? Manners, politeness. You get it down as much as you can on paper, so it makes it very easy for you to control the culture of your organization. That job description and expectation is something that, as a business owner, as a manager at your company, you should be documenting things before that position is created, or if the position is already there, marking out what is a really good fit for that role and what are things that are not a good fit, so that when the next time you're hiring for that role or the company is expanding, you're ready. I talked about yesterday the failure to prepare. This would be the failure to prepare. Having a role and not constantly going back on a monthly, quarterly, every 6 months to sort of review what are the success points of this position, role, feature of the company, and what are the things that shouldn't be there. How do we cut the fat, so to speak, right? Empathy. If you're not empathetic, hiring somebody that is older than you or younger than you, and probably even your own same age, is not going to work out. We have to practice empathy in the workplace. When I work with folks that are younger than me, I am empathetic. I understand they don't have the same experience. They don't have the same amount of time under their belt. They may think and learn differently than I do. I'm empathetic. Same can be said for those when I have waiters and bartenders and chefs that are older than me that come and work with me. First of all, I want to value their experience. I want to be empathetic and understand that they may have some more years working in the industry than I do. On that same note, I'm looking for empathy from them to understand that I have created a business. I've had a certain amount of success. I am the person that is in charge of the culture and the product that is coming out of my company. So I'm looking for empathy from them in terms of understanding how I want things to be done and fitting that into their mainframe of how they see the world and how they interact with the world. My empathy in terms of learning curve and understanding that sometimes there's multiple ways to get to my goal is a really big part of having a multi-generational workforce. Understanding that I don't always know the best way. And even if my way might be a little bit better, giving individuals the freedom to sort of learn that as we go along is really important. A great example of that is, just organizing a workspace. For me, I have a certain idea on what my workspace is supposed to look like, but everybody's a little bit different. You can talk to about it in a review or a training session. Hey, this is what I'd like. This is ideal. This is how generally I see that it works better. But give the job a chance. If things aren't getting done the way that you want them to do, you can always go back and review and say, hey, I see that we're not getting the results that we want. Maybe we should organize the workspace this way rather than the way that you have it. But I would give some freedom and give some openness and give some design. And obviously each industry and each job place is going to have some different places where leniency can be applied. But I encourage you to put that in because everybody's going to want to work a little bit differently. Obviously there's things around safety and there's things around efficacy for certain things that just have to be done in a certain way. But when it's not that way, being flexible is going to be ideal with whatever generation you're working with. I hope this was helpful. I hope it allows you to bring the experience of older folks and the energy of younger folks, and vice versa, the energy of older folks and the experience of younger folks, because each generation has unique components, and more importantly, each person brings an incredible amount of unique potential to the role. So make sure you have your job description lined up. Make sure you're understanding in general what each generation brings to the table and how they want to be respected or given a purpose. And then make sure that you are being empathetic in your hiring, firm in terms of what you need in terms of job description. But once they're in the door, empathetic and understanding to each generation's wants and needs. I know this will help you grow your company. Have a great day. I'll see you on Monday.
Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. This is business development, not even selling it. This is intelligent. If you watch it, I promise you benefit. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T.